Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we'll talk to a best-selling author and TEDx speaker, and she's going to teach us all how to leave a legacy. That's just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I think one of the reasons for the great resignation that we keep hearing about on the news is people are climbing the top of a little mountain or hill, and they're looking around and saying to themselves, is this all there is? People are searching for meaning, and that's why leaving a legacy on this planet is so important. To talk about that, somebody who knows a little something about leaving a legacy, Ilona Peronakova. She is a best-selling author and TEDx speaker. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff, always to be here, and for your invitation, and for your such a great heart and honor to be here.
Well, you've written a couple of best-selling books, and I want to talk about the latest book. So tell us.
Our goal was to finish up the year strongly. So my goal was, what can I do to take it to the next level? And for me, I always have to wow myself first before I can inspire people. It's not about, intimidating people. It's about inspiring somebody. So I have reached out miraculously, and I'm a go-getter. I don't stop where I am. I reached out and I found the Prince of Montenegro and Serbia. I did his interview on my show and for my show. And I have asked him a question. How does he feel about writing the joint book together? And it will be really a great effect and impact because he's leaving the legacy. And when people hear about royalties, of course, what do you know about royalties? It's inheritance, right? Your heritage, right? About your past, about what you're going to leave for your children. And I'm going to, in my mind, what can I leave for my children? What can I bring to the table writing the book about the legacy together? So when I found out, I love the quote of Peter Stoppel, where he says that legacy is not leaving something for people, but it's leaving something in people. So I wanted to shift that mentality of the legacy. So instead of, leaving something in a bank account for, for the children, when you pass out, you have this insurance, life insurance that gives you some kind of leverage. But I wanted to bring something inside that the money cannot buy, and that's ability to dream and not to stop.
What are some other nuggets that people are going to take away from the book?
Well, we speak a lot about some of the implementation and some of the bringing as example of people that people are aware of. For example, the author of the Harry Potter, right? People probably do not know what she had to go through to get where she is right now. Do you know how many times she has been rejected before her book even got into the publisher?
No, how many times?
12 times.
Wow.
And do you know what happened to the author of the Gone with the Wind?
No.
So she got rejected 38 times.
Unbelievable.
And do you know how many times the Thomas Edison had to pitch his idea before it even got to the idea? Over 10,000 times.
Wow.
Can you imagine if they would have stopped, at 11, if she would have stopped at 37, and if we would stop at 9,999 times? What would have happened to all of us? And that's why I wanted to bring this energy by comparing the lives of the people who never gave up because they stood up behind everything they believed into.
Yes.
And they never stopped and looked back.
And you've come through a lot of adversity. Your first best-selling book, Opium of the Almond Tree, is really based on your journey, and you grew up in Soviet Russia, right? The state of Georgia?
Yes, it's a Republic of Georgia, and it's a beautiful country. Culture-wise, food-wise, it's a rich country with a soul and a history. And we usually tell the joke that sometimes people think that I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, actually, we didn't have enough space in my country, so we moved part of Georgia to United States. So technically, it's all ours. But all these things aside, that not being able to go through that, I would not be able to be the person I am today. Because adversities is just like Nietzsche said, whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
And she remembers discrimination as a child. She remembers poverty as a child and hunger. And it's all in the book, so I won't spoil the book. You got to buy it on Amazon. We found a great speech that you gave for graduation, and let's go ahead and roll that now.
I, Ilona Shaw, am an immigrant and a direct descendant of Armenian genocide survivor. My great-grandfather, despite of being a witness of his parents being beheaded in front of his eyes, still carried his dream to create a generation of people with vision, survivors, victors, and builders of their dreams. I have fought and conquered many personal battles to be here today. December 25th, 1991. It was a day that I would never forget. The entire Western world was celebrating Christmas, yet on the other side of the world, the side that I lived on in Republic of Georgia, we were in the middle of the Civil War and the fall of the Soviet Union. That Christmas day would be the last day that the Soviet flag would fly over the Kremlin in Moscow. I was in the kitchen with my mother, who was making a dinner, and I was shaking and utterly scared. I could hear the bombs going outside of, if they were outside of my roof. When the electricity clicked off and everything went dark, I began to sob. Then I immediately jumped into the arms of my mother. I wanted her to protect me. I was determined to keep my little girl spirit alive and began to search for the ways I could bring joy back into my life. Through this, I have discovered the power of dreaming by allowing myself to dream and envisioning what I wanted to create in my life. When the war was over and when I grew up, I began to feel a sense of hope. I began to feel empowered. It's been 29 years since I was a little girl, growing up in the middle of the war in the Soviet Union. Yet, I've never stopped using the power of dreaming. Even when the life felt hard or challenging, even when I wanted to give up. Each one of us here today has had their own challenges, their own unique dreams. But the one dream I know we have in common is that each one of us wants to make a difference in the world and create a value. And today marks a very, very important day where we are on the way to doing just that. I have fought and conquered many personal battles to be here today, just like I know each one of you has graduated from the school of ISO. If I have learned anything, is that there is no secret formula to achieve success, but it does require deep-seated passion, a burning desire to strive for what rings the truth to the person that you are and to dream into the reality. May your trials always lead to opportunities, and may the hope of God always fill you with the joy and peace in believing, so that we will be stepping into the new and spectacular season of our lives. And today, February 18th, marks 18 years since I arrived to America, to the land of opportunities. I feel so humbled as I stand here and look out. All I see is victorious room filled with the change makers. Lastly, please remember that you are a dream maker of your life, and God stands right out beside.
Wow, you truly are fearless. And I got to tell you, because I was a TV reporter and then had to learn how to speak. Speaking in public is one of the most difficult things to do. Do you find that enjoyable?
Before, I considered myself as the quietest person.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought myself standing on a stage, delivering the speeches without any fears or any setbacks. So for me right now to do something like that and being on the stages, it's not just a privilege, but it's a mission that I need to accomplish, to let people know, do not let your past define you. Because if you ask all of my friends, they would never thought I would be there.
Wow. We only have a short time left, so talk to the viewer that is struggling right now. They're going through something, and it may not be as harsh a condition as you grew up in, but there may be loss of a job, loss of a loved one. What words of encouragement can you leave them with?
The biggest thing that comes to my mind right now is the story of the Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison, at the age of 6, he came back from the school home, delivering and showing the letter to his mom. And his mom looked at the letter, and the letter states, your son is a genius. We cannot teach him at school because we don't have the capacity of the children. He is too surpassed his age. So we want you to teach your son at home. So when she passed, he went through her belongings, and he finds the letter that the school teacher sent to his mom. And he reads the letter, and the letter says, your son is a retarded. We don't want to teach him anymore. He's an embarrassment of the school. You better teach him at home. I'm going to ask you, there is a power and an energy exists if you believe in someone. Because if it wasn't for his mom, who believed that he was a genius, we would not have been, using the benefits of what he had achieved in life. So I want you to find that source of energy inside of you, despite of the voices that are telling you, you can't, because you can, and you can too achieve something in life that will be as significant, as amazing, as grandiose as Thomas Edison did. And that will be your biggest legacy that you can leave behind you.
Wow. She's a preacher. You know that? You got the heart of a preacher. So we are going to leave with your website, which is ilonaperenakova.com. Go on there to check her out and sign up for all her social media accounts, follow her, order her books, and book her to speak. Ilona, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Always an honor.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.